This is called Success and Failure. And it's based out of 1 Samuel, the 13th chapter. After Samuel showed the Israelites that Saul was to be their king, Saul did not start acting as a king at once. For a while, he went back home and worked in his father's fields as he had always done. One day, he came home from plowing to find his family and servants all sad and crying. "What is wrong with you?" Saul asked. "We have bad news about our Israelite kinspeople who live across the Jordan River," they answered. "The king of the Ammonites has told them that in 7 days he will come and put out everyone's right eye and make them his servants. There are not enough of our people there to fight the wicked king." This news made Saul very angry. He knew that God had made him a leader over all the Israelites. The time had come for him to take his place as king and save his people. When Saul decided this, the Spirit of God came upon him and made him strong and brave. He took the oxen that had been pulling his plow, killed them, and cut them into 12 pieces. He sent a piece to each Israelite tribe with this message: "Come now and fight with Saul and Samuel, or the same thing will be done to your oxen." The strong words of their new leader made the Israelites want to obey. At once, men gathered from all the tribes to help free their people on the other side of the Jordan River. When Saul saw that the people had answered his call, he sent messengers across the Jordan to tell the people there, "Tomorrow, by the time the sun is hot, we will come and save you." Just as he had promised, Saul marched his army to the Jordan River, crossed it, and came upon the Ammonite army while it was still early in the morning. The two began to fight, but it was not long before Saul's army had completely beaten the Ammonites and had them running in every direction. This battle made Saul the hero of all the Israelites. They met Saul and Samuel at Gilgal on their way home from fighting. There they offered sacrifices to God and crowned Saul king. It was a happy time for everyone. Saul was going to be a wonderful ruler. After this, Saul was known as the leader of the Israelite army. Since he was a good soldier himself, he knew what it took to make strong fighters. He looked throughout Israel for brave men, and then he took them and trained them to fight with him. He also trained his son Jonathan to be one of his generals. With his army, Saul fought the enemies on all sides of the land of Israel. The Philistines were the strongest of these enemies, and Saul had to fight them over and over again. Before one important battle with the Philistines, Samuel asked Saul not to start fighting until he had come and offered a sacrifice and asked God to help them. But Saul thought that Samuel was taking too long to come. He was afraid the battle would begin without God's blessing, so he went ahead and offered the sacrifice, just as though he thought that he could do what only the priests were allowed to do. No sooner had the sacrifice stopped burning than Samuel arrived. "What have you done?" Samuel asked. "I was afraid that my men might leave me or that the battle would begin, and since you were not here, I offered the sacrifice myself," Saul answered. "That was a foolish thing to do," Samuel told him. "You disobeyed God. Because you did not obey him, God is not going to let the kingdom stay in your family. Someday, he is going to give your kingdom to a man who will obey him." Saul won the battle with the Philistines that day, but he lost his kingdom. He had begun to think that he was strong and powerful, and he had forgotten that God was the one who had made him that way. Saul was not careful to do just what God told him if he wanted to do something else. This was the reason that God was going to let someone from another family be king after Saul instead of Saul's own son, Jonathan. How sad that Saul did not turn out to be the king of kings that everyone thought he would be. Samuel had warned the people that only God should be their king, and now they were finding out just what he meant. I think that goes along with what I said last Sunday. Saul became yesterday's man just that quickly because he thought he didn't have to put himself under what God told him, under the scriptures.